Tools recommended to replace your master cylinder are a socket or wrench set, a pliers and large screwdriver, a set of flare nut wrenches, a protective fender cover, and a pair of safety glasses. The only additional items you'll need are a replacement master cylinder, approximately a quart of the recommended brake fluid for your vehicle, and some spray penetrating oil. First, compare the replacement master cylinder to the old one of the car to make sure that you have the correct replacement. Place some old newspapers or shop towels underneath the master cylinder inside the engine compartment to catch the brake fluid drips during removal. Place a fender cover on the front fender to protect the vehicle's finish from brake fluid. Now disconnect the brake lines from the master cylinder. A light squirt of spray penetrating oil may help loosen fittings that are corroded or rusty. To prevent stripping of the brake line fittings themselves, we suggest using flare nut wrenches whenever working on brake lines. Once the lines are removed from the master cylinder, plug or tape the ends of them to prevent contamination. If the actuator rod of the replacement master cylinder is permanently attached to the master cylinder, this rod must be disconnected from the brake pedal before going on. Next, remove the mounting bolts or nuts from the firewall or power brake booster. Pull the master cylinder forward and lift upward away from the mounting bolts to remove it. Be careful not to spill any of the brake fluid onto the vehicle's finish, as the brake fluid can cause permanent damage to the paint. You're now ready to prepare the replacement master cylinder before installation. If the master cylinder is mounted at an angle on the vehicle, you must bench bleed the master cylinder before installation. If the master cylinder is mounted level on the vehicle, bleeding may be performed with the master cylinder in place on the vehicle. In either case, we suggest bench bleeding the master cylinder before installation. For bench bleeding, the ends of the specially designed valves must be trimmed to eliminate the back pressure that is generated during the piston return stroke cycle. Install the adapters into the brake line outlets hand tight. Clamp the master cylinder horizontally in a bench vise. Tighten the vise securely to prevent the master cylinder from moving during the bleeding procedures. Fill the reservoir with new, clean brake fluid. Never reuse old brake fluid. Most vehicles require DOT3 brake fluid, but we recommend you consult your owner's manual for the correct brake fluid recommendation for your particular vehicle. Slip both ends of the rubber hose over the adapter valves and extend the hose over the reservoir. Cut the hose approximately in the middle. Submerge the open ends of the hose in the brake fluid of the corresponding reservoir. With your thumb and forefinger, hold both hoses against the dividing wall of the master cylinder. Support the hoses with light finger pressure and press the piston inward. Make sure you're wearing safety goggles all during the installation. When the piston has traveled its full stroke, squeeze both hoses closed against the dividing wall of the reservoir and allow the piston to return to its normal position. Make sure the hoses stay submerged in the brake fluid. Repeat this procedure until the fluid coming out of the ends of the tubing is completely free from any air bubbles. Remove the ends of the tubing from the fluid and tie the rubber tubing in a knot to prevent fluid spillage. Do not remove the tubing or fittings yet. Reinstall the master cylinder cover on the top of the master cylinder. Install the replacement master cylinder on the vehicle, making sure the push rod is correctly positioned. On master cylinders with permanently mounted push rods, reconnect the push rod to the brake lever on the inside of the car. Reinstall the master cylinder mounting nuts or bolts and tighten them securely. Remove the rubber hose and remove the brake bleeding adapters. Loosely install the brake lines to the master cylinder. Have another person slowly depress the brake pedal until the brake fluid seeps past the threads of the fittings, and now tighten the line with flare nut wrenches. Do not release the brake pedal until the fittings are securely tight. Remove the cover and double check the fluid level. The level should be approximately 1/4 of an inch from the top of the reservoir. Add fluid as necessary and reinstall the cover. Lastly, depress the brake pedal several times to ensure the pedal is at the proper height and is firm. If the vehicle is equipped with power brakes, you may have to start the engine to feel a firm pedal. Take the car out and test drive it, making a few easy stops at first. You're done. You've saved yourself money and at the same time gained the satisfaction of doing your own automotive repairs.
Now let's review replacing a master cylinder. First, compare the new master cylinder to the old one. Use protective covers to keep brake fluid from getting on the paint. Disconnect the brake lines from the master cylinder. Remove the master cylinder mounting bolt and the master cylinder. Bench bleed the new master cylinder. Install the new master cylinder on the vehicle. Start the mounting bolts or nuts by hand. Loosely install the brake lines to the master cylinder, purge the air from the lines, then tighten the line fittings. Top off the master cylinder and depress the brake pedal several times to verify correct operation.